What's up, guys? Cajun here, and today we are here, and Premiere Season 3 is over. It's over, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play well the last half of the season, and I ain't got a video for today. And the highlights that I thought I had weren't really that good. So today we're gonna go and recap my Season 3, my entire season, look at all the games, what I did, how I did, and which map was the best, which map was the worst, my top 10 best games, my top 10 worst games, and maybe even preview Anubis. I don't know. I played it twice on season 2, so I don't know. We're gonna get into it. So first, I want to go over my total statistics throughout season 3. I played 189 games. I won 109 and lost 80. So I had a 57.67 win rate, win rate, and had 29 wins over losses. So uh, that's really good in my opinion. For my first season, having a 57% win rate is insane. And I mean, with the 6-7, you could even round that up to 58. But with that, I also had a 16 and 14 average, a 1.11 average KD, and 303 kills over deaths. And that I'm really proud of, especially coming from Critical Ops, where I'm not positive at all. I'm glad I'm at a spot in CS where I'm not going negative every game, right? Overall, over the season, I was able to get kills. I was able to win rounds, and I was able to help my team rather than in Critical Ops. I feel like I'm just a ghost and not helping my team at all. But some stats we can't get in Critical Ops: average ADR 79.46. So that needs to go up a little bit. My damage definitely needs some work. A 1.1 rating, average HLTV 1 rating, which is pretty good. 5.77 CT rounds won and 5.39 T rounds won. So I don't know. Like, I don't have a good base mark on if that's good or not, but I'm assuming it's pretty good. I find the CT rounds a little low though. I don't know. 5.7, you can round that up to 6. 5.3, you round that down to 5. So, we're, I don't know. I feel like that should be a little bit higher. We'll have to see on season 4 if that goes up or down. And then for the season 4 recap, we'll have to see if that's a good number or not. So real quick, before we go into the minutia of each map and the 10 best maps, 10 worst maps, I kind of want to go and summarize and kind of look back at how my season went. So starting out here, we did not start out great. You know, I played 29 games with a PC that was not really up to par for CS and for recording. And before I got my new PC, I actually did decently well. Not, too negative, not too positive. Did okay. I had this one ancient game where I went 13 and 10, had a plus 13.47 Leadify rating and a 2.30 HLTV rating. So I popped off in that one. But just overall, I did pretty good on a jank system like that. Again, another ancient game where I went 31 and 10 on my old PC. And this is kind of like equivalent to my Critical Ops career, where on my old Moto G4 Play or whatever, I would frag out and actually do well. And now on a current phone, I'm ass. So like I don't get it. I don't get it. But to this start of the season was so good, especially in the 1 to 2, even the 3K elo range. But we could see I say that, but once we got to 3K, we kind of plateaued for a bit here towards the end of September, and started getting a lot of red games, right? And not terrible, only -5. I went 20 and 25, so not terrible. There's a lot of yellow, which means I was average in terms of Leadify rating, but it's here towards the end of September where there's a lot more red Leadify ratings and a lot more red HLTV ratings, and the kill differences aren't that bad, but the ADRs are really what I think I need to work on specifically. We'll see that a little bit more later too, but at the start of October, I pick it back up. We're doing good. We're doing great. And through most of October, I do pretty well, honestly. There's this one group, the 25th and the 26th. We just didn't have good games that day. I was not fragging. I had this one train game that was out of the blue, but other than that, I was just not fragging that weekend. And then we get into November, still kind of low in a lull. And this is probably my worst streak here. 5 wins, but like 8 losses or whatever. Yeah, 5 wins, 10 losses here in this span from November the 7th or November 3rd to November 25th. Like, I didn't get to play much in November, not as much as I wanted. And then I get another 5 wins and then go on a streak. So November, the end of November to December, just awful. Like through December too, Christmas even was just awful. And then towards the beginning of January, I'm starting to pick back up. I actually need to put these stats in before I finish. All right, so they didn't change too much, but I just wanted to be sure. But towards the end here, in January, I've had a little bit better of a go of it. This 1-3 Mirage game is crazy. Dude abandoned literally in round 2 because he went AFK and one of our teammates said something and he cried and left. So I don't know. But so yeah, that's basically how my season went. Overall, pretty good in all honesty, but I could have done better, especially in the later half. There were a couple of drunk streams in there. We're playing drunk CS. So all in all, I think I did pretty well. And for this being my first season of CS, I think I did honestly very well. Having a positive KD, having a positive win rate, I think that is really good for my first season of CS, and actually focusing on CS a lot more than I have before, and a lot more than I have been Critical Ops recently, right? So now here comes the fun part. So we're gonna go map by map. I'm gonna have my season 3 stats and then the entire game list showing the maps. So before we go into the specific map stats, we need to see what maps were our most played maps. I'm going to compare it to the Leadify most played maps at Premiere page as well. So first off, we have Mirage with a 20% win or play rate, sorry. Then coming in second, it's Dust 2 and Nuke tied at 17%. Coming in fourth is Inferno and Ancient tied at 14%. Sixth is Overpass at 12%. And Train at 6% is last. And I mean, that goes to show why Anubis is coming in. Compare that to Leadify and the most played maps in Premiere. We have Mirage at 24.6%, Dust 2 at 21.8%, Inferno at 14.8%, Nuke at 13.2%, in fifth, Ancient at 12.7%, sixth, Overpass at 8.8%, and Train at dead last 4.1%. So comparing that, Mirage, Dust 2 in the same spots. Nuke and Inferno switching it out on my games. They've switched in terms of most played. Ancient down there, Overpass in sixth, and Train. So hey, that's pretty cool. The only ones switched for me are Nuke and Inferno. Nuke being in third or tied for second, and then Inferno being in fourth. Compared to Inferno being third overall in Premiere, and Nuke on fourth. So with a pretty big discrepancy between Inferno and Nuke too, 14.8 to 13.2. That's like 1.5%. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So now that we know which maps are my most played, let's go into the stats. So pulling up the map list of Inferno is Not great. We are not doing good on Inferno. I can tell you that. But I've had a lot of good matches overall. You know, a lot of matches where I go even. I can count four on the screen. Well, okay, four matches where I went even, but I'm still there's still a good bit of yellow in the Leadify aspects, which is the average ratings for Leadify rating, but there's still way too much dark red and light red in my opinion. But for total stats, I went 16 and 10 with a 61.54% win rate. So that's, you know, pretty good. We're still getting wins even if I'm not contributing as much to the team. So I'm getting carried a lot on Inferno, averaging 14 and 15. So just not getting over the hump with a lot of the good games I had on Inferno, because I started out great and then I've had a couple of good games towards the latter half of the season. So averaging 14 and 15, or pretty much 15 and 15, really. 12 kills away from 1.0 KD, averaging a 0.97 with 71.93 ADR. And again, ADR is, I think, a theme that we're going to see, that I'm not doing a lot of damage. 0.97 average rating, an average HLTV rating of 0.97, and then CT rounds 1 5.59 average, and average T rounds 1 a 5.81. So yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of green on the win-loss side. Obviously, apparently a lot of my promotion matches happen on Inferno, whether win or lose. Overall, I think Inferno was a map where I learned a lot, honestly. I learned, especially on Inferno, that I've got to entry frag a lot more. I think a lot of this season I played scared, and not really scared, but far back too, because I'm trying to be an AWPer. And I think on T side, I need to take more of an entry fragger role, because I do feel like a lot of the times I am a good entry fragger. It's just, I like the AWP so much. I like AWPing, and I don't know why. I've always gravitated to snipers in games. I remember playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, not even online, just probably Galactic Conquest or just quick action. Playing the sniper classes on Tatooine, getting on top of the hangar, and just sniping Mos Eisley left and right. And so, you know, I've always gravitated to snipers in games, and CS and Critical Ops are no different. But on Inferno, it's very hard to be an AWPer there, especially when you need to take banana control. And I think my last few games, I've been really good at taking banana control overall. I don't know. It's something that I definitely need to get better at Inferno, but I think I'm getting there, and I'm not, you know, terribly far off. It's not like I'm going, you know, double negative in the games I'm going negative, but it's something that needs to be worked on. Now up next we have Mirage, again my most played map of the season. Let's take a look at the stats. I went 19 and 20. I ruined the 50% win rate with a loss there at the end of 48.72% win rate, averaging 15 and 12 on the map. So pretty good, going very positive, averaging a 1.23 KD with 114 kills to deaths. Or 114 kills over deaths, averaging 85.38 ADR. So again, ADR is a problem here, and averaging a 1.16 HLTV 1 rating. Average CT rounds 1 is 5.28, and average T rounds 1 is 4.31. So here we could see a lot more green on Mirage, and even there is a couple. I thought I just saw one. Yeah, October 10th and 11th here. I went 16 and 17, 16 and 16, but I had good ADRs, 94 and 89. Didn't do the best to help my team, but like oh well, I guess we still lost those. Never mind. But there's a lot more green on this map, and I think that is probably a lot more contributed from my CT side than my T side. I feel like Mirage on T side for me is just awful. I think CT is a lot better for me, especially when I play on A. I just can't figure out how to play B to save my life. I usually play around ticket, you know, as an AWPer, obviously. Play around ticket or around mid. I do need to get better about playing from jungle though. I just am not good playing from jungle. And then rotating from mid window to CT is just, it takes way too long. So I need to get better about playing through jungle. And overall, Mirage was a good map. A lot of high lead 5 ratings here, but there is a good bit of yellow, so there is improvement. Like I said, playing on B on CT, playing on jungle CT, and then again, Mirage was a map where I found I was a pretty good entry fragger, especially coming out, getting the Tetris, finding kills, getting clearing sandwich, getting on stairs, clearing out con and jungle. Just that fast paced play style of an entry fragger was pretty good on Mirage for me. Now through the latter half of the season, there's a lot more red. I didn't play as well on Mirage a lot of the time, but it did okay on Mirage. That's where I'm gonna leave it. All right, next up we have Dust 2, where I played pretty well, honestly. I went 23 and 10 with a 69.7% win rate. Nice. Averaging 15 and 14 with a 1.1 KD average, 48 kills over deaths, 78.88 ADR average with an average HLTV 1 rating of 1.09, 6 CT round win average and and 6.18 T round average. And looking at the games, there's a lot of red towards the end. A lot of green towards the top, though. Again, I think it's the story of, getting towards the latter half of the year, getting towards that plateau that I've been at for a little bit now, around 5-6K, where I'm still learning the game, right? And Index has asked me to play Face It a lot. And this is the reason I don't want to play Face It, is because I'm averaging and plateauing around 5-6K, where there's a lot more red. Yes, I'm still getting kills. Yes, I'm still kind of helping the team. We could see that with a couple of yellow leadify ratings there. But overall, in the end, just through November to January, I just did not play Dust 2 well. And thinking back on those games, there's just a lot of, teammates weren't controlling mid as well. There's a lot of rushes in mid. And I probably need to get better at making sure the rush isn't coming first. Throwing, I, I don't know. There's a lot that is wrong with my Dust 2, and I like it, but at the same time, I don't like playing Dust 2 because I don't know. I understand the map in some games, and I don't understand it in others. I don't know if that makes sense. But like this latter half, people were playing so weird, and I just was not able to do anything. And yeah, Dust 2 was just weird towards the latter half, but the games where I was playing well were good. And even with all that red towards the end, I still only got 2 losses in that time span. So it's I don't know. Dust 2's a weird map. I don't think it was my best map. But hey, 23 and 10, pretty good win rate on it. You got to play maps you have good win rates on. Next up, a map I was pretty fond of throughout the season, but a lot of my teammates weren't, is Nuke. Nuke, love-hate relationship with Nuke, honestly, especially towards the end of the season. I went 16 and 15 with a 51.61% win rate, averaging 16 and 15 with a 1.08 average KD, 38 kills over deaths, an average ADR of 77.72. Again, ADR is killing me. 1.11 average HLTV 1 rating, 6.06 CT round win average, and a 5.69 T round win average. And looking at the game list, a lot of green again. A lot of green and a lot more red towards the latter half of the season. But I will say there's a lot more yellow than there was on Dust 2 and Mirage. On Dust 2, there was just pure red. But the thing I like about Leadify rating is that the yellow average is a lot more lenient. And it goes to show that, yes, while in terms of HLTV 1 rating, I'm not doing as well and in terms of kills, I'm not doing as well. I'm still somewhat contributing to the team and doing a pretty decent job at helping the team, right? And the last 7 games, we won 6 of them. It's not that I have to carry every time, right? And I think a lot of these games toward the latter half of the year, especially on Nuke, is that not that I wasn't carrying, but I it was a lot more team chemistry on Nuke, if that makes any sense. And I think the average Leadify ratings may show that. I don't know. I may be just bullshitting to bullshit, but I think Nuke was a pretty good map overall. I do think a lot of my teams were one dimensional because we would either go outside or through hut, and very seldomly just rush vents. A lot of the time we could not figure out ramp to save our lives. Ramp was a killer. So in season 4, I think that's something I need to learn, is how to combat ramp. But other than that, Nuke's a fun map. I never mind playing Nuke in Premiere. And so it's gonna be a map that I'm excited to keep learning and to see how season 4 treats us. So now we get to my low-key favorite map of the season, at least at the beginning. Train, least played map though. So 6 and 5 in total, 54% win rate. A very small sample size for these stats. Also keep that in mind. Averaging 13 and 12 with a 1.10 KD, 14 kills over deaths, an average ADR of 80.82 with an average HLTV1 rating of 1.04, and then the lowest average CTNT rounds 4.64 and 4.27. So yeah, I don't know, man. Train's a hoot. Train's a hoot. I think in the way it's made now, it's very, very, very CT sided. Well, I think B is very, very CT sided, and I think A is very T sided. There's Train's kind of a mess right now because a lot of the time T's will already be out on A from A main whenever CTs get there. So I think there's not really a lot to talk about on what I would need to learn for next season because Train's being replaced by Anubis. But stuff to learn if it were in season 4, how to molly A main so that they can't just run out right off rip. And if they do run out, only a couple shots will take them down. Because I think that was the biggest problem, especially towards those last couple of games, was that A main was getting abused by the teams we were facing. And I mean, rightfully so. It's a pretty strong position. But I also think CT needs to take control of Long Dog, and I think Long Dog's a pretty strong but also a pretty weak position, because for CTs, you gotta go through B stairs to do that. And if CT's popped up B stairs and gets the jump on you, gets kills, well then you can't go Long Dog. So I think the devs are cooking on Train, but there's still some stuff that needs to be tweaked. I don't think giving access back to Pop Dog is the best. I think keep the ladder out. I think having to go to a ramp or B ramp and B long, B main, I guess, is a good design choice. But I also think A main is too abusable. And but then again, there needs people need to learn the map and need to learn how to stop rushes like that. And that's, I think, the main issue with Train right now, with a lot of Premier people, is that people don't know how to stop that A main push, and it just is overwhelming, and you lose the map because of it. So if Train were to be in season 4, I'd say learning a quick molly to molly A main to just put a stop to a rush would be great, because those rounds or those games where there's a lot of green on my sheet was just me basically playing Ivy. Me playing Ivy and me playing upper on B. That's it. Like I feel like Train is an opera's paradise. You know, there's a lot of long angles. There's a lot to like if you're an opera on Train. But you know, yeah, I think that's all I really have to say on Train. Next up, we have Overpass. Overpass, I went 10 and 12 with a 45.45% win rate, averaging 15 and 15 with 11 kills over deaths, 1.03 average KD, 72.13 average ADR, with an average HLTV rating of 0.99. And the CT average round wins is 5.7, and T average round wins is 5.42. Now, Overpass, you're going to see a lot of red, but unlike the other maps, I think over time I got better at Overpass, low key, because towards the latter half of the season, you see a lot more green, and you see a lot of these matches where October 10th, I went 36 and 10, literally right after going 16 and 7, or 16 and 17. I go 36 and 19. Then October 19th, I go 23 and 16. 18 and 14 October 24th. Then I get a little bit of a lull, but not anything egregious where I'm going like 8 and 10 or 14 and 21, 11 and 17 like I did September. But where I'm going 10 and 12, 18 and 18, 17 and 11. Not the best performances, but I'm still playing well. And then December, towards the end of December, 31 and 14. That was the match I carried that we lost because Twitch was on my mouse and I wasn't focused. I wasn't locked in. And then 22 and 19, and then 18 and 16. So I think Overpass is growing on me. I still don't think it's my favorite map. I still don't think it's my best map, but it definitely is a map that's growing on me. I think one thing on Overpass that I would have to learn is probably playing B a little bit better. I feel like whenever I'd play B, I get slammed a lot, especially if I'm not having with an op or something, rotating between A and B. Oh, hello, Twitch. Oh, yeah, you heard us talking about Overpass, and you want to come ruin it again. I see how it is. I see how it is. Yeah, but just playing B a little bit better, whether that be on sandbags, whether that be barrels, whether that be around pillar, whether that be in water even. I think that playing B and figuring out some better positions is a lot better. I also think I need to play con and stairs a little bit more, and maybe even lower, because I feel like that doesn't get used as much in my elo, in terms of CT presence. I feel like T's get control of lower a lot easily in my elo, so maybe playing there a bit more. I have been playing party a little bit to get early op peaks, and I've been trying to do that to get op peaks on ramp. It's been going so. It's been going all right, but not the best. But yeah, like overall, I think just choosing better gunfights on Overpass too is a thing. But overall, I think my B site needs work, and when I have an op in my hands and I'm playing, rotating between A and B, pretty fast and pretty easily, I think that's the strength of my Overpass. But in terms of rifling, I think B site definitely needs work. And then last but not least, probably my best map, Ancient. I went 19 and 8 on Ancient with a 70.37% win rate, averaging 18 and 14, 90 kills over deaths with a 1.22 average KD on the map, 87.19 ADR, and an average HLTV win rating of 1.22. Average CT round wins is 6.41, and average T round wins is 5.59. So yeah, obviously from colors, this is my best map. A lot of green, a lot of yellow, averaging towards the end, but overall my best map. Averaging a 1.22 KD on any map is kind of insane. I think the closest map that comes to that is Dust 2 and Train, where I had a 1.10. Actually, Mirage. No, Mirage, I have a slightly better KD at 1.23. But averaging 18 and 14 compared to the Mirage, Mirage is 15 and 12, is something else too. And winning 19-8, getting 11 more wins and losses is also crazy. Looking at the map list, or sorry, at the game list, I did plateau a little bit around, the end of September, early October, but I got back on it around November, and the last few games have not been the best. But overall, I think Ancient was one of my best, or probably the best map that I played this season. And I don't know why. Because, like, it's not that I know it better than any other map. I learned a couple smokes. I learned donut smoke. B-site, I played ramp a lot. And I learned that execute from ruins, where, two smokes and a molly, molly pillar, and then smoke backhauls and stairs. And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just I think Ancient's just a fun map to play. I don't know how to explain how I'm necessarily better at it than a lot of people, or understand it better than a lot of people. It is what it is. I think a lot of people don't want to learn it, and it's really not that hard to learn. Like Index was having a hard time playing this map, and I'm like, Index, dude, it really is not that hard. Just hold angles. That's literally all you have to do. And yeah, so, like, I don't know. I don't know what the secret is, but I would say if I did have to improve something on Ancient, would probably actually be my CT side. Holding with the op is good, and I do well, but there was a lot of times where, teammates would lose cave. So I think probably holding cave a bit better overall, not just, myself, but also teammates, even though that's kind of really out of my control. Getting a better hold on cave would probably be the best thing. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for Ancient. Now is time to look at my 10 best games. And we're going to start with my 10 best kills, like my top 10 kills games. So, my highest kill game was an overpass game where I believe I uploaded it. I went 36-19 with 114 ADR and a 7.78 lead to fire rating and a 1.63 HLTV 1 rating. And we tied that game. It was such a good comeback. And we just, I don't know. It was one of those things where we had a pretty good game, and my teammates helped, and we brought it back and tied it. Second would be Inferno, 33 kills. Fourth and fifth is a 31-10 performance. No, that is not a copy paste bug. I actually had two separate 31-10 performances on August 25th and August 19th on Ancient. 132 ADR and 136 ADR, plus 15.04 lead to fire rating, plus 13.47 lead to fire rating, and a 2.41 HLTV1 rating, and a 2.30 HLTV 1.0 rating. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wait, this can't be right. This has got to be the same game. And it wasn't. I had two nearly identical games. I actually had a lot of games, now that I look at it closely, where I went 31 kills. Overpass and Mirage also 31 kills, 31-14, 31-16 respectively, with 106 ADR, 131 ADR. That Mirage game, I did not have a good lead to fire rating, apparently, though. I don't know why. I'll have to go look at that one. And then I had two Dust 2 games where I went 30-18 and 30-15. A new game where I went 29-14, and again, a third Ancient game where I went 28-10. In terms of my top 10 lead to fire ratings, I had a plus 15.04 Ancient game. That was the 31-10 game, or one of the 31-10 games. Then I had a plus 14.49 in between the other 31-10 Ancient game on Nuke, where I went 29-14. Then I had a fourth Ancient game. That was the 28-10 one, where I went 11.84. Then I had a Train game where I went plus 11.77 lead to fire rating and went 20-9. Got called a couple of slurs that game. Fun fact. Then Dust 2 plus 10.92, where I went 30-18, plus 10.51 on Overpass, where I went 31-14. That was the one where I carried and we lost, unfortunately. And then Dust 2 plus 10.36, where I went 13-15, Mirage 10.28, where I went 18 and 12, with a 7.9 ADR, which is sus, and then a 10.08 Inferno game where I went 17 and 10. And of course, if we're talking about my best games, we also have to talk about my worst. My worst performances, my top 10 worst performances of this season. A negative 12.96 Leadify rating where I went 4 and 16 on Inferno. A negative 9.10 rating on Dust 2 where I went 5 and 18. A negative 8.59 game where I went 11 and 15 on Ancient. A negative 8.43 game where I went 7 and 15 on Dust 2. A negative 7.95 rating where I went 17 and 25 on Nuke. A negative 7.85 rating game on Dust 2 where I went 11 and 24. A negative 7.37 game where I went 6 and 14 on Train. A negative 6.88 game where I went 6 and 14 on Inferno. A negative 6.78 game where I went 6 and 17 on Overpass. And then this one, I don't know about this one. A negative 6.73 game where I had 101 ADR but went 2 and 6. I don't know how that one works, but sure. And that is about it for my season 3 recap. Overall, I think what I would need to work on is just recoil control. I've gotten better over the course of the year, but I do think that I still have a ways to go in terms of recoil control, especially on the AK. And figuring out the M4 A1S. I feel like the M4 A1S recoil control is just I don't understand it for some reason. So I need to get in the shop, work on those. And yeah, I mean, here's the season 4, I guess. Learning Anubis, and I actually do have some season 2 stats from Anubis. I think I only played 2 games, but I went 1 and 1, averaged 15 and 13, with a 1.15 KD over those 2 maps and a 1.07 rating over those 2 maps. So I don't know. I did enjoy Anubis the 2 times I played it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, how that fits into the map pool, even though it got removed this past season. Yeah, I'm interested to see how plus Anubis minus Train works, and I'm also interested to see if we get any other updates as well. And if we do, I'll probably put that video out. It may come out before this one because I've been recording for 53 minutes, so God knows if this is going to come out today or tomorrow or whenever. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this little deep dive, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.